So in this video, we are going to be looking at why you might be getting the L1 fault code on the ideal Esprit Eco2. So first thing, what is the L1 fault code? So L1 basically means flow temperature overheat lockout. So with this L1 fault code, there's four main things we're going to be looking at. The first one is pressure. The second is the isolation valves. The third is the pump. And the fourth are the thermistors. So let's look at the first thing, pressure. So if you see where I've done my little beautiful drawing here, you can see I'm pointing at the bottom left of the boiler, which is your pressure gauge. And the pressure gauge will range from about 0 to 4. So right now, if you see the little black stick, it is pointing to 0, but we're going to be wanting that to point at about 1.5, which is where I've drew my little green line. So if your boiler pressure is empty, then you have a filling loop underneath the boiler, which you can use to top up. So you're going to want to open both of the valves to fill it up to about 1.5, and then it's important that you shut them at 1.5 and you leave them shut. Next is the isolation valves. So underneath your boiler, you have 4 valves in total. From the left to right, it will go flow, gas, cold, and return. So if you look at the top picture, the purple circle is the flow and the orange circle is the return. So if you can see now, they're all currently pointing up. That means they are currently unisolated, which is fine. That's how we want them to look. But if you look at the bottom picture, they are now facing forward or sideways or 90 degrees, whatever you want to call it. This means they are isolated. So how it works is the boiler produces hot water and then it will flow out of the boiler through the flow, which is the one circled in purple. But if the isolation valve is isolated, then it won't be able to flow through out of the boiler. So that's why we want to make sure both of them are open. So if they're both open, that's good. We can go look at the next thing. The next thing we're going to be looking at is the boiler pump, which is in the blue circle that I drew. So the job of the pump is to circulate the boiler's hot water, which is produced in the main heat exchanger. So sometimes the pump can fail in two ways. The first way, the pump could be completely knackered and it's not spinning at all. The second way it can fail is over time the pump can become weak and it's not spinning as it should. So even though it's spinning, it's not producing enough of a spin to circulate the hot water properly and cause the boiler to overheat. So there is a quick way you can test this. It's not as easy as it was. If you see my previous videos with the different version of the pump, I have like a little magnetic tool which I had to put on the front of the pump and it'll tell me straight away if it's spinning. But these ones is a little bit different. So what you can do is you can get a Phillips screwdriver and you can point it in the little hole that I've circled with the red circle. And when you push it in, you should hear a little crunch. Only when the pump should be spinning, you're going to do this test. So when the pump should be spinning, you're going to put your Phillips screwdriver in and you should be hearing a little crunch. And that just proves that it was spinning and you just physically stopped it, which is fine. But if you put your Phillips screwdriver in there and it doesn't make that noise, then it could be seized up or you're not getting any power to the pump at all. So you are also going to want to check that you are getting power to the pump, but that's another test or something I explain on my website. This video is just showing you the possible things of why you're getting L1 fault code. So next we have our thermistors. So we have 2 thermistors. We have our flow thermistor and we have our return thermistor. So if we look at the top left hand picture, that's our flow and that is situated pretty much on the heat exchanger. And then if we look at our return thermistor, it is on the bottom right hand picture, which is situated just above the pump. So there are specific readings you're going to want to get for these 2 thermistors. Once again, I'll post these on my website so you can see right in front of you what they're supposed to be. At different temperatures, there's going to want to be different readings you're going to want to get, and that's just going to prove that they're working as they should. and the job of the thermistors are just to record the temperature of the boiler. So if they were faulty, even if the boiler was producing the right temperature and everything's working fine, they would be telling the PCB that there's an issue and causing the boiler to look out. And lastly, which is very rare, but it is known to happen, you could have a faulty PCB, which is why you're getting the L1 fault code. But I would probably check everything the way I've laid it out in this little video, and then if everything's all good, then maybe you're looking at the PCB. But that is it. That is all the things you're going to want to look at if you are getting the L1 fault code on the Ideal Esprit Eco2. So I know this video is slightly different to what I usually post, but if you like this and you want to see more of these type of videos of diagnosing, then just give it a like and I shall try to post some more.